So this dream that I had, my dad and I were taking some tamales, and I don't know why it was tamales, and it probably doesn't have any significance, but we were taking some tamales to a apartment complex that had just burnt down in our town. And I know that it was like in the middle of the night, and we were driving in to the apartment complex. And I remember looking around, and it was dark, and I looked over where the other apartment complex was burnt down, and it was just, what a building looks like when it's burned. It's dark and smoky, and it's stinks, and it's just depressing and everything. Anyway, and we shined a light on the buildings, and there was nobody around, because there's only one apartment complex burned down, but there were other people living in the other ones around. So anyway, so nobody was awake, nobody was around, and it was like it was the midnight hour. I mean, it was just really late and dark, and why we were delivering tamales that late, I don't know why, but we ended up leaving, and we drove out of the apartment complex, and we started driving down the road. And remind you, it was pitch dark outside, and I looked up in the sky, and I said to my dad, I said, "What is that?" And he looks up, and he's like, "Oh my!" And it was a clock, like just a big round clock, and with white and black numbers, just a clock. And then it was a big, huge clock, and then there was another number, but it wasn't like the number 2. It was blurred, but it was like another symbol for a 2, and I don't know what it was. And then it was a 4, and like again, the 2 and the 4 were kind of blurred out, like they weren't important, but he wanted me to focus on the clock. And right when I woke up, and that was it of the dream. And I remember that the clock was symbolizing 5. So it was 524. And I kind of woke up like, Lord, I mean, are you like showing me something? I don't understand. I couldn't see what the time was. And I didn't understand the 2-4, and 524. So I go to work, and I call my mother, and I'm like, "Mom, I had a really weird dream." And I just told her the same dream that I just told you guys. Anyway, and she, was like, "Well, if the Lord really wants you to, if it's something from the Lord, He'll reveal it to you." So I kind of going about my day, and I'm a barber by trade, and I was cutting somebody's hair, and they had left, and I turned around, and I heard the Lord say, "Look up 5 in Hebrew." And so I did, and this was the first thing that came up when I looked at it. And I thought this was really interesting because I've never really heard much about the number 5. But the word is Hamesh, and it looks like this. And so when it says this, it's I don't know if I can show you, but it's Hebrew, right there. Anyway, it says the number 5 symbolizes the idea of saving, to be saved, or to be rescued. Starting with the middle letter Mem of that Hebrew letter there, which represents the world. I just thought this was amazing. It is God that saves or rescues us from the world as we repent, follow, and keep His commandments. I was in tears because I had the dream. I felt like, the Lord was showing me something there, and I really had no understanding, and I was praying about it and talking to Him about it, and called my mom, and it was just in the instant like that, when I turned around, I heard the voice say, call or look up Hebrew or the 5 in Hebrew. And that's what I got. And I was just in tears. because I really know that was from the Lord. That was just really cool. So I called my mom and I was just bawling. It was like, and I'm at work and I'm trying to control myself, but anyway. And then I did look up what 2-4 means. Two, the number 2, similar to number 1, symbolizes integrity. It is the integrity provided by God, like God's creation, man and woman united through marriage unto one. Number 2 leads to number 1, leads to God's power and to God. And then the Hebrew number 4, it says the Hebrew word translated to English presents the name of God. I'm probably not saying this right, but I know you guys I've heard it say. It's JHVA, Yehovah. Well, anyway, which I'm sure I just butchered that, but which is allowed in any vowel. It is only natural that God's name is in 4 letters, as number 4 represent completion. I thought that was pretty cool too, which is another word for perfection. Throughout the Bible, God has been described as perfect God without blemish or sin. Anyway, but the whole part of that dream that I had was about the number 5. I really believe it was the clock. It stood out. It was at the 5 o'clock hour. As it is translated, the 5 means that, God rescues us from this world. So, brothers and sisters, I just pray that, you'll be blessed by this word. I always hear people talk about, the 12 o'clock hour, and so it kind of threw me off that, it's the 5 o'clock hour that the Lord will rescue us from this world. Anyways, I would really like, some of you guys' thoughts and comments on this.